From a distance it looks like some kind of battleship standing in the sea, but in reality, it is a small city that has now completely become ruins. At one time, more than 5,000 people lived on this small island. It was not only Japan's, but one of the world's most densely populated cities. There were apartments whose concrete is now completely corroded. Inside them, people's belongings still remain. It seems as if the people who lived here just left everything and fled. There were schools here, where the voices of children once echoed. There were hospitals, town halls, swimming pools, shops, and cinemas. Everything that a city should have existed here. And today, this entire island, this whole city, presents itself as a desolate ghost town. But why did not a single one of these thousands of residents remain here today? What happened here that kept Japan from allowing tourists to visit this island for 35 years? Welcome once again to Scope History Videos. Viewers, this island is called Hashima. It is located 15 kilometers from the city of Nagasaki, in the South China Sea. Because of its shape, like a battleship, it is also called Battleship Island. In this part of the sea, there are about 500 such islands with no population. But the story of Hashima is quite different. Compared to others, the other islands are quite green. But Hashima Island is a large rock that emerged from the sea. It has almost no vegetation. Hashima Island played a huge role in boosting Japan's economy in its time. Its most special aspect was coal mining. In the past 150 years of its history, around 165 million tons of coal were extracted from the seabed near this island. Such a large amount of coal could produce electricity for all of India for a month, and for Pakistan for 10 months. In the 1800s, on the nearby island of Takashima, people living there found coal scattered on the ground. At first, they did not know its properties, but then a man named Gahida accidentally discovered its heating properties. From that day, the people of Takashima began collecting the scattered coal on the ground. They used it to heat their homes. Gradually, by 1850, Nagasaki had become an international shipping port. This was a stopover port between America and China. International cargo sailing ships would dock here. Western countries, namely Great Britain and the USA, were replacing their sailing ships with steam engines. These steam engines required just one thing to run, and that was coal. When those ships docked at Nagasaki port, they needed coal for refueling. This coal was scattered on Takashima Island, not far from Nagasaki. As the demand for coal grew, the island's people began extracting it from the ground to sell. Gradually, the coal on the surface of Takashima was exhausted, so they turned to the surrounding islands. Among them, Hashima was the only one with a large amount of coal. At that time, old-school methods were used to extract the coal. Mostly, they relied on manual labor. Now, to meet the rising coal demands, manual labor was no longer sufficient. Thus, in the 19th century, Mitsubishi bought Hashima Island. At that time, Mitsubishi was a shipping company. It decided to start proper coal mining on Hashima Island. Mitsubishi built homes for the workers here. It also created a seawall to protect the entire island from the ocean waves. This is why today the island looks like a ship. In 1916, 3,000 workers lived here. They were extracting 150 tons of coal from the ground each year. Due to the small size of Hashima Island, there was very little space to live. So Mitsubishi built a concrete residential complex. This allowed more workers to live here with their families. This was the greatest building boom in Japan at that time, but it was still quite small for the workers to live in. After that, the number of workers on Hashima Island increased. Mitsubishi continued to build new complexes here. Along with this, schools for the workers' children were built. Entertainment centers were also constructed. In 1941, the coal production on Hashima Island reached 410,000 tons annually. It kept increasing day by day. In 1959, the island's total population was 5,200. Now, the total area of the island is just 15 acres. If we do simple math, 335 people lived per acre here. Such a dense population has never been seen in any country in the world. You can gauge this by the fact that in China today, the population density is 84 people per acre. At that time, Hashima had 335 people per acre. The workers who lived here said that one room was shared by 3 workers, but only 2 workers could sleep in it. The third had to sleep in a cupboard. As for the mine, it was dug 1 kilometer down from Hashima Island. The temperature there was 35 degrees Celsius. The humidity was 95%. Working under these harsh conditions was not without danger. Many workers lost their lives while working in the coal mine on Hashima Island. Even during World War II, Chinese and Korean prisoners were forced to work in the mine. For this, the entire world still criticizes Japan to this day. After World War II, when the Japanese Empire was overthrown, Japan built many facilities for the workers on Hashima Island. This was done to improve its image. Cinemas were built, gyms were built. High schools and entertainment centers were also constructed. All these facilities on the island were kept completely free for the workers. But in return, the workers had to help in the maintenance of the island. Fresh drinking water was brought from mainland Japan. Later, water lines were laid inside the sea. These connected the island to mainland Japan. In the 1960s, Hashima Island was at its peak. Japan's economy benefited greatly from it. However, this was the time when coal engines began to decline worldwide. coal was deemed harmful to the environment. Oil began to replace coal. As a result, in the international market, the demand for coal began to fall. Gradually, coal mines started to shut down. Mining on Hashima Island was already very difficult. First, it was isolated from the mainland. Second, tsunamis and ocean storms often occurred in the South China Sea. Mitsubishi had built a protective wall around the island, but these storms often broke the wall. This caused extra expenses for repairs. Due to all these difficulties, the Hashima coal mine became unprofitable. In the 1970s, Mitsubishi laid off 2,000 workers. Some were adjusted to other facilities. Finally, on January 15, 1974, the company officially closed the Hashima coal mine. Without jobs and livelihoods, thousands of workers left Hashima Island overnight. In the history of Hashima Island, an entire generation of people once lived here. But all those memories had to be left behind here. Today, Hashima presents a scene of a forgotten ruined island in the South China Sea. For many years, the Japanese government sealed off this island. Anyone who violated this rule was severely punished. Many people said that Japan wanted to hide the true reality of forced labor camps here, but Japan insisted that this rule was made to prevent theft on the island. Hashima was rediscovered in the 21st century. In its ghost town form, it became quite famous, especially among those who love to see ghost towns or ruins. In 2005, Japan officially opened Hashima Island for tourists. Officials made several attempts to repair the buildings here, but since their reinforced concrete was severely corroded, this work was not possible. Harsh weather conditions also made repairs difficult. Many buildings collapsed due to typhoons. Other buildings were on the verge of collapsing. Only a small part of the island was repaired. Tourists are allowed to visit only that portion. The location of this ghost town also attracts filmmakers. It was used in the 2009 TV series Life After People. In 2011, several thriller scenes of the James Bond movie Skyfall were also shot on Hashima Island. In 2009, Japan requested to list Hashima Island as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but South Korea, North Korea, and China strongly opposed it. They argued that this disregarded the feelings of those victims who were forcibly brought here to work in the mine. In the end, a compromise was reached. Japan agreed to acknowledge the forced labor in the history of the island from the 1940s. I hope you all will like and share this video by Scope History. Thank you so much for your lovely comments. See you in the next amazing video.